Top 10 golf stretches that you can't miss. I'm Dr. Sam Attanasio. Let's get right into it. So coming in at number 10, we have the cat-cow stretch. Cat-cow stretch is phenomenal for working your back, hits all the cervical, thoracic, and lumbar parts of your spine, creates a lot of blood flow, a lot of mobility, and is amazing for overall spine health, which is vital to golf. When you're doing cat-cows, I see a lot of people make the mistake of just very small motions here. You want to really exaggerate the movement and really stretch as much as possible to really get your spine bending in both directions. This is going to create the actual mobility. If you're limited to just little tiny motions, you're not doing this exercise correct. Really stretch it out. Coming in at number 9, we have bent over swimmers. Bent over swimmers are awesome for working your shoulders and upper back, creating a lot of mobility. This also works your rotator cuff and your rear delts. Vital to have great shoulder mobility in your golf swing to prevent injuries and allow for free range of motion for more club speed. When you're doing bent over swimmers, you want to make sure you have good posture. If you're in a position like this and trying to do your bent over swimmers, you're not doing it correctly. Really make sure you're in great posture, keep your chest up, and you're really focused on moving your arms and keeping them as back as far as you can while going through this range of motion, keeping them back, 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 reach as far as you can. You don't want to have them drop down and be doing them up in this portion where your elbows are close to the ground. Really keep everything back, stretched as far back as possible, keeping that good posture. Coming in at number 8, we got the 3-way wrist stretch. Wrists are obviously very important in the game of golf. They're involved in every single swing. We got to make sure we keep our forearms and wrists healthy. Doing the 3-way wrist stretch is really great for stretching out your forearms in a couple of different ranges of motion. When doing this stretch, the more pressure that you have on the top of your fingers, the more of a stretch you're going to actually have on your forearms. So when you're pointing them up, put some more pressure on your fingertips. You're going to feel a lot more here. If you put a lot of pressure just on your palm, you're not going to feel as great of a stretch here. The more stretched out your hand is, same for this way. If you're pulling down your fingertips, you're going to have a bigger stretch than you are if you're just pushing on the back of your hand here. Coming in at number 7, we have the figure 4 stretch. This is phenomenal for stretching out your piriformis, which sits deep in your glutes, the rest of your glute muscles, your hips, and even your low back. Tightness in this area is a big contributor to low back issues in the golf swing. So making sure it stays open is vital to keeping healthy. Figure 4 stretch comes in at number 7 because it's so versatile. If you want more stretching, you can just press down on your knee. The more you press, the more stretch you're going to get in your glute. You can also advance this stretch by reaching through and pulling your foot closer to your face. And then you can also begin to rock back and forth and all the way down to the side if you really want to get everything stretching further. Coming in at number 6 is the frog stretch. The frog stretch is a super deep hip opener, works the inner thighs, the groin, your hip joints, and it even stretches out your lower back. A lot of guys end up having groin tightness, so really try to get as wide as possible here. We want to make sure that our heels are actually out. We don't want to have our heels too close in because then we're not going to have as much of a thigh stretch. So get the heels out in line with your knees, and then you're essentially just going to sit back as far as you can and focus on keeping your chest up. We're trying not to collapse down in here because that's going to give us a lot more range of motion. Trying to really keep our chest up and sit back into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Apley scratch stretch. This is a shoulder mobility exercise in 2 different directions. So we're essentially working on shoulder flexion and external rotation, and then also shoulder extension and internal rotation. Essentially, this is stretching your upper back, your chest, all of your shoulder muscles, especially the rotator cuff. For this stretch, you can use a PVC pipe, you can use a broomstick, you can use an iron, you can use basically anything for this. You essentially just want to grab on. The closer your hands are together, the bigger of a stretch you're going to have. This takes a little bit more range of motion to actually get moved into the right position. So find the right hand spot for you. And what you really want to pay attention to is keeping good upright posture, not bending over, and really let your arms go backwards. So when you're pulling down, really let your hand go back as far as you can. It's going to be natural to try to pull this elbow down this way. You want to try to keep your elbow back. That's going to give you more of a stretch when you're coming up, same philosophy. You don't want to try to have your elbow come in, elbows coming back, and that's keeping your elbows in the right position, which is going to keep your shoulders in the right position to get the most out of this stretch. Coming in at number 4 is an awesome stretch. This is the squat with thoracic rotation. This is phenomenal for also working your inner thighs, start stretching out your glutes, and also work your core. But most importantly, this stretch is amazing for working mobility through your T-spine. Your T-spine is super important in golf and actually getting full range of motion and good rotation. What we're doing here is taking your legs essentially out of the equation while also stretching them, and we're trying to keep that tension on the inner thigh with your arm as you rotate. So you'll notice that this is essentially blocking my leg from coming in when I'm turning, because this wouldn't really be doing the same thing with our T-spine. So we're really leaning on the ground, putting all of our weight on our arms. Then as we turn, you'll feel your knee pressing against your arm, and you're keeping it there as you rotate around. This is really working T-spine mobility for that better range of motion in your golf swing. And cracking our top 3 is the Instep Stretch, which is a phenomenal stretch that a lot of runners use, but golfers in particular need to use it too. This is a big stretch for your hip flexors, your quad, your glutes, your hamstrings, huge lower body stretch that you will feel immediately. So this is a really tough stretch. The goal is to get your forearm to the ground, which is very difficult to do, making sure that we're essentially getting our shoulder inside of our knee, reaching down as far as possible. This one, you don't need to work on keeping proper posture in our back. If you do, you're going to be very quickly limited in your range of motion. So we can allow ourselves to bend over and really try to reach as far as possible, trying to get that forearm on the ground. And coming in the big number 2 spot, we have the half kneeling hip flexor stretch with a reach. Now the hip flexor stretch is amazing for stretching your hip flexors and your quad. This plays a big role in preventing back injuries in golf. But adding in the reach also gets a great core stretch, stretches your obliques, your intercostal muscles, and your lats. For the hip flexor point of this stretch, it's big that you try to get your pelvis into a posterior pelvic tilt, which is essentially tucking your butt under your hips. Then you can rock forward. You'll feel a big pull right here. In the same time, we're gonna reach with the side that is down, that arm, across your body. Essentially, we're trying to reach as high as we can and over as far as we can. Feel the big stretch in your lat, feel the big stretch in your obliques and your core, and you'll feel an even more stretch in your hip flexors and quads. And the number 1 greatest stretch in golf is the all-fours thoracic rotation with thread the needle stretch. And while that's a mouthful, it also stretches just about everything. You're gonna get a huge lat stretch, back stretch, rear delts, T-spine, phenomenal for increasing range of motion and mobility in your golf swing to help you to stay healthy and hit the ball further. The big focus on this one is keeping good posture. You don't want to be hunched over while you're doing your turns. Keep that good posture, and you're really focused on keeping your body having all 3 connecting points as you turn around. You don't want to shift off of one, because that's just gonna help you to get more range of motion without actually stretching your T-spine more. We're rotating up, and then we're rotating down and thread the needle. If you're looking for more of a lat stretch in this position, you can try to push away with this arm right here and shoulder, getting more T-spine turned this way essentially, and you can sit back on your heels more. That's gonna increase the amount of stretch you have in your lat here. That combination is killer for making your T-spine more mobile in the golf swing. The sets, reps, and time for each of these stretches varies based on whether you're incorporating them into a warm-up, a cool down, or into a mobility routine. While there are thousands of different stretches out there that are ultimately really good for you, this is our top 10 list, which hits all the major muscle groups to help keep you healthy and playing better golf. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section down below. Remember to like, subscribe, share it with a friend, follow us on all our social media platforms, and make sure that you incorporate all 10 of these stretches into your stretching routine to keep you playing better golf.